Hi, if you've seen any of the videos I've done about my collection of old squat figures that I field as an Imperial Guard army, you'll have noticed it was an all-infantry force. And that is because there were never any actual squat tanks made by Games Workshop. And I wanted to do something about this because I didn't want to field just standard Lehman Russes and call them squat tanks. I wanted to produce some very specific squat Lehman Russes. And today I'm going to show you what I've come up with. And here we go. That's a squadron of squat Lehman Russes. Now, to produce these, I have taken the hull and the turret from the current Lehman Russ kit, and I have mounted those on the track sections of the current Chimera kit. Now, you may have heard me say in the past that I don't really like either of those kits, but when I combine these pieces, I feel I actually get quite a nice squat vehicle. The turret is quite low profile, and the whole thing sits lower. I've cut away all of the bits that would have the Chimera hull mountings on the inside of the track sections, and then pushed the Lehman Russ hull down as far as it would go. And then I've covered up the detail on the outside of the track sections, which was one of my complaints about the new kits. I didn't like it at all. I have placed simply a flat sheet of plastic card along to bulk out the width a bit. It makes the overall hull width about the same as it would have been under the old Chimera chassis. And then to cover up the fact that it is just a flat piece of plastic card, I have scratch built these spaced armour panels. Again, I've just used plastic card for that, and mounted a detail from the tank accessory sprue on each one. This was the first one I did. It uses a demolisher cannon, and the crewman in the turret comes from the Thud gun. And since I couldn't mount any sponsons on this vehicle, but wanting a bit of extra firepower beyond just the main turreted gun and the hull-mounted las cannon, I've added a pintle-mounted heavy stubber. So that's the demolisher, and I've added to that a pair of Lehman Russ eradicators, done exactly the same way. Lehman Russ hull and turrets, Chimera track sections, and spaced armour made of plastic card. You might also notice that the viewport on the front, I've used the Chimera hatch cover instead of the Lehman Russ one, because I just didn't like the Lehman Russ one. I felt the hole was far too big. So that gives me a full squadron. Now, I picked the armament of these on the basis of squats. It's sort of like they're going to be blasting people out of fortresses. So for that I thought, well, the demolisher cannon is a powerful anti-fortress weapon, whereas the Eradicator Nova cannon ignores cover saves. So that is just for rooting out enemy infantry from bunkers, particularly useful if somebody's taking an Aegis defence line. Kiss goodbye to all those 4+ armour saves and 3+ cover saves. And I'll just compare this. This is a Lehman Russ Executioner. It's one I advance ordered before I saw what the kits were like. And if I just put that vehicle right next to it, you should be able to notice how much lower it is. So it's lower, and if I turn it around, you'll see it's also wider, just like the squats themselves. But I've not just done Lehman Russes, because I've also done squat Sentinels. Both armoured Sentinels, so I didn't have to worry about doing a crewman. And again, I have made these lower than the standard Sentinel, which I'll put in next to it so you can see. And that was done quite simply by omitting this piece here, where the legs typically mount onto the hull, and instead mounting them onto the engine block. Unfortunately, since I've disguised that with other pieces, it's not very easy to see. I used the COM antenna from the tank accessory sprue to bulk out the engine block and make it wide enough to mount those on. There we go. So I now have 2 armoured Sentinels and a full squadron of Lehman Russes designed specifically to support my squats in battle. And that's all for today. Thanks for watching.